Alright, y'all, welcome back. And today we are going to talk about the ultimate fade catcher, the ultimate smoke thrower, the ultimate run them hands MC Yusuke Urameshi. And the reason we're talking about Yusuke is because I made a video talking about, well, my favorite main characters in anime. And while I was doing that Yusuke section, I was like, man, I could make a whole video just talking about how many fights Yusuke really got into. And that's what I'm gonna do. Now, for you to understand Yusuke, you have to understand the backstory and really the start of the part. Yusuke, he grew up as a delinquent. His mom, she wasn't at home that much, and when she was drunk. His father, he had left him. We see him actually once or twice in the manga. We never see him in the anime. He had left him. He has very vague memories of him when he was like 2. So when we meet him at 14, he was just doing shit. You know, he wasn't going to school. He was running fades everywhere. I mean, he even had his own rival who actually plays a very important part later in the story, Kuwabara. But then, boom, he gets hit by a car trying to save a little kid who he was trying to make laugh and whose toy had fell into the street. And from there, he meets the Grim Reaper, all that stuff. And it eventually leads to him becoming a spirit detective. You know what I mean? And what that basically is he goes around, beats people up, really beats demons and ghosts and all them up, and then reports back to his boss, who like runs the underworld or something like that. Now, I did skip over the fact that he had to unlock his spiritual powers just for him to be able to use and actually be a threat to a lot of these demons. But he did after a few episodes of him carrying around an egg, which, again, important later. But this is where we get to the phase, because once he came back, he was on straight BT. After they gave him his first mission, because his first mission, it was actually a very important one. It was against Hige, Kurama, and a third monster, which he fought first. And with that fight, don't get me wrong, he was getting his ass kicked until he wasn't, and he really clutched up because he shot a spirit gun right through here. Gone. But this right here, the Hige fight, was when we first see the smoke catcher personality is unleashed, because what he was doing to Hige had this nigga ready to tweak and crash and blow up the whole place. He was so ready to go down and hunt Yusuke down. He wanted nothing else but Yusuke after this fight, because Yusuke won. And not only did he win, he looked good trying to win. He low-key was putting paws on him. Not even gonna lie, just low-key. Now don't get me wrong, Hie was still way faster. He still had the strength. Yusuke, he just had paws. And as the series progresses, because after this they go to a castle and fight 4 demons, where there you also see Yusuke just use straight bare hands and raw power to beat the main villain. And even at that point, it took everything within him to the point where his body hit full exhaustion after the fight, and he could barely escape the burning castle in the underworld after he beat him. Because he was just using he was treating it like a street fight, using straight punches, kicks, using dirty tactics. He might grab your wrist and start beating you up with the other hand. But after that, we see him go against or meet the Toguro brothers. I'm pretty sure they were brothers. And we meet Toguro, which when I show him, I'm pretty sure he's on screen right now, you can see how big this nigga is. Pause. And those ain't just looks. This nigga was strong as shit. He had the hand-to-hand combat. He had everything Yusuke had times 10. Because he had combat skills to another level. His strength was at another level. His speed was at another level. And his spiritual pressure, not even spiritual, I forget what they even call it, just his aura, it was insane. But this is Yusuke we're talking about, the same man who said, I don't care if it's a baby or a grandma, when talking to a woman asking if he was actually going to hit her. Yes, he was, and he did. But anyway, I think him and Toguro ran the fade the first time outside the Dark Tournament, and nothing really came of it. It was a nice fade. It wasn't much though. And Toguro, I'm pretty sure Toguro told this nigga train, fuck nigga, and meet me at the tournament. Well, no, yeah, he did. He pulled up on Yusuke after that and said, meet me at the tournament, fuck nigga, and dipped. So Yusuke got his 4, and Toguro had his 4, and they went to the Dark Tournament. And throughout the Dark Tournament arc, we just see Yusuke eating. He was going through niggas, all the niggas. He had a knife fight, beat him. He fought, I'm pretty sure he could fly, beat him too. He fought a good few niggas before he ran into the final challenge, the one that would complete the entire journey and who would have ended the original story, which that is actually true. Togashi wanted to end the original story after this arc. We finally get the Toguro versus Yusuke finale, and that fight, it lived up to all it was promising to be. I think the fight dragged on for about 2 or 3 episodes. Like, it was definitely probably my favorite fight throughout all of Yu Yu Hakusho, without a doubt. And in order for Toguro, because this is why he's ended up being one of my favorite villains, in order for him to unlock Yusuke's full potential, he ends up killing Kuwabara, but like, he doesn't really kill him. He just hits him hard enough to knock him out. But he makes Yusuke think he killed him just so Yusuke could go crazy and start killing Toguro. Because at the end, Toguro just says he just didn't want to live no more. He wanted Yusuke to reach his full potential. And he said more than anything, he wanted a worthy opponent. So I felt like he did it just so he would have that release. Like, don't get me wrong, throughout that entire fight, it was just hands being thrown from both sides, from Yusuke and Toguro. But they were literally fighting so hard, they had broke the stage for the Dark Tournament. There was people in attendance dying. All of them actually passed out from how much pressure that was being released from the two of them just standing in the stage, especially after Yusuke got into his rage mode. But after Toguro, we see another one, Shinui, who I didn't really deep dive into him in my other video, so I'll give y'all a little breakdown. He was essentially a spirit detective at one point, one of the best spirit detectives, who ended up going on a mission where he found out the tape of humanity, apparently, where it just shows everything humanity had did to demons and spirits and all that. And that tape changed his life to the point where he ended up starting to fight the spirit detectives, believing that the only things on earth that were good were animals and plants. And when I say it changed something in him, it really just broke his brain, because from that point on, he became the devious man we knew for the rest of the arc, at least up until a point. But we see Yusuke go hand to hand against Shinui, and when he fights him, I won't lie, my goat was getting cooked. Yusuke was getting paws put on him almost every fight, honestly. Like, he would get a few licks in, that was cool, but at the end of the day, Shinui was getting the last laugh. And at one point, it started to feel like Shinui was toying with him, to the point where he had just decided, you know what, I'm gonna kill you, and got him out of there. Then, with the strongest spirit detective no longer there to stop him, he went into the demon world, where Kuwabara, who was raging at the time, Kurama, and Hiei all followed him. But what they didn't know is that Yusuke is such a dog that his ancestral being came out and said, you're not dying today. And when I say that, I'm literally not joking. Like, his ancestor was a demon, but that demon blood caused him to transform into what we see as demon form Yusuke. And once he goes to the other world and confronts Shinui again, oh my god, it was gory, but it was magnificent. Because from the moment he sees him, it was straight rage and pause. His ancestor was talking to him like Eren Yeager was talking to his father. Do it. Finish the job. Like, I'm literally watching like, whoa, Yusuke ain't never done this. This man was coming up 4 or 5 headbutts, smashing him into a pillar, punching him down deeper into the ground, and breaking the entire pillar they were standing on. I'm like, whoa. He literally dragged him across the demon world back and forth. It was like it was no contest. He was just beating the shit out of him. And it got to the point where he lost complete control, and his demon ancestor, which this is where I call it the second form of Yusuke's demon form, which is really where his ancestor takes over, comes out, and he sent a red spirit gun, which you could see the beam on it, right to Shinui and killed him. Straight like that. But after that, the arc's over. But Yusuke, he never loses his demon ways, and he goes to the demon world to figure more out about this form and what essentially caused it and why he has it. And when he goes there, he spends 3 years in the demon world. But he's not there for just any cause. He's there to unify the demon world, and he actually succeeds somewhat in doing it up until they decide, yo, we're gonna have a tournament to decide who's really at the top. And this is where we see a different side of Yusuke that we haven't really seen much of the series, where he's actually reflecting on everything, asking himself, is he really deserving of all of this? Until he locks back in and says, I'm that nigga. And him and this demon lord, who I'm pretty sure at the time was the second strongest behind only the demon lord who was his ancestor called Ryzen. But them two, they go at it in a semi-finals. This isn't even the finals. By this point, Yusuke has learned how to manage and control his demon form. He looks a lot different when he goes into that form. It's not just a bunch of hair everywhere. He's actually in his regular cut. You just see a lot of markings. And they get to scrapping. And when I say they were scrapping, they were going back and forth at it. See, even though Yusuke lost his confidence during this fight, once he snapped back in it, he just kept going. And that's when he just starts firing off spirit guns. Spirit gun! Spirit gun! All you hear. And I'm just looking like, man, is he gonna stop? How does he have this much energy? You were just depleted. But the fight continues. And finally, to end it off, they do a clash. And the clash is so good to the point you would think Yusuke won. But we wake up and my GOAT is in the hospital. He lost, passed out after the clash. But the person he went up against, the demon lord at one point, because there were 3. One of them is dead, which was Ryzen, and that's why Yusuke came to take his place. But the demon lords, he lost to a random demon. And that random demon went on to become the ruler of the underworld. And they had decided once every few years they would have this tournament to decide who controls the demon world. And from what I'm pretty sure we know, he took proper care of the world too. But yeah, Yusuke, he was running smoke, running fades, all of that. All series long from arc 1 to the last final arc at 18 years old. But by that point, we see him at the end. He's a lot more matured than we saw when we first started the series. He's not as much as that smoke catcher we saw when we first saw Yusuke, but don't get it twisted. He will quickly drop kick you. But alright, that's all I got for y'all. If y'all enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we are on the road to 2K. Make sure you like it up, sub it up, do whatever you can, and till next time, peace.